we talked to each other, Gary, the night before this game started, and I was already feeling like no matter what, we were vulnerable to lose to this team, as Epstein does not kill himself, but kills us once again. But I didn't even know Brett Bielema was the coach at the time. And then when it slipped my mind. And when you reminded me, I go, oh, shit. And what did you say? Yeah, exactly. That's what you were thinking. Yeah. I'm not shocked at all that we lost this game. In fact, I'm shocked that we looked so good early on. It looked like we had control.
I don't agree we looked that good, but go ahead.
Okay, we'll get to that too.
Those look good.
Yeah,
there was glimpses of looking good.
Sometimes he looks great, exactly. And that's why I'm not done.
We were playing Illinois. Should always look good. Right?
What's the problem and how is it solved?
Go ahead, Corey.
Lil Lordy.
I'll be here for an hour.
Lil Lordy, let's hear what you
want to talk about the beginning too. I think, like, to me, this looked like practice. So yeah, everybody's rusty. We're coming off a year where really no one played or practiced because they were handcuffed to something that they couldn't control. And so, like, I felt they were dialed in for those first few drives, which you see that in the NFL too. You know, you see them go. You see that this is their playbook. Like, they've rehearsed this. You know, they're doing what they did when in practice. And then once that ended, it was like no control. Like, everything was just let loose, and it was like, all right, we're done with practice. Let's just scrimmage from here on. But if we want to get to the whole what's the problem, how do we fix it? I mean, there's lots of different things. I know we could probably go on for hours, but I think the biggest thing...
the elephant in the room is it Frost? Is it Frost? Is it Martinez? Is it both?
Well, we've talked about it previously, but it goes deeper than just the coach. Like, they're completely overhauling the school athletics. Like, and during all of this, like, that's a really rough time to do it. But I think it maybe gives issue to a few things. One of them mainly, and this I think is our fault, is the expectation. Like, we had this team, we had a dynasty, and we are living every single person up to that expectation of the dynasty. And we will, I mean, it's hard to say it, but we're never going to get that again. What we had with Tom Osborne is unique. And every single coach since then, we've demanded that coach be Tom Osborne. And it's not going to happen. And I think that's our fault. That's the administration's fault. That's the fans' fault, because every coach that came in, it was a winning season. We didn't even give them a chance. They have winning seasons, and we're like, get them out of here. They didn't make it to the championship.
Well, except for Mike Riley.
Yeah. But I mean, they pretty much all had winning seasons. They were that was them starting with winning seasons. Like, that's where they started. We're not there right now because we're in a different era. But I think that was maybe, for me, that's the biggest issue, is our expectation, and that really set back the program, because now we had a hole, and we dug it deeper every time we hired a new coach. And this new set of coaches and administration are sitting in a 50-foot hole. Like, try getting out of that. Like, that it's a steep climb. So I think that's probably the deepest thing I could say about what's the problem. But then how do we fix it? We just got to give it time. Like, we got to shut up as fans. We got to stop, thinking that we're going to win the championship this year, because it ain't going to happen.
Who thinks that?
It's ingrained in Husker blood that you have to be champions because we had the dynasty. So, and how can we not have the dynasty?
So Dallas Cowboys disease.
I mean,
I agree with that. That is a lot of that's the fans' problem. Yes. I honestly think that.
But we mirror it onto them, like, we're asking them questions. We're saying, like, why aren't you winning this year? Like, we just got to sit back and be fans. We got to love our team. We got to love the coach. We got to love the players. We have to prop them up and say, we believe in you, and we don't.
Oh, and
we need to. If you feel like I understand that. Like I understand not every, but most aspect where fans are coming from. Like there's a lot of legitimacy in my mind to what you're saying. There's a lot of legitimacy to people saying that Frost needs to go, that this and that and everything else. My thing to the people who Frost needs to go, this isn't like a relationship where, oh, this chick isn't working out. We need to break up. I'll figure some things out and find a new girl. This is the head coach of what, to your point, Corey, what every fan thinks is a program that should be in contention every year. So if you're going to get rid of the coach you currently have, who better do you have in mind that you're going to bring in that's going to recruit better, that's going to coach better, that's going to change the culture better, that's going to run the program better, all of that. You can't just go, this isn't working out, done with you, especially after you did that with Riley, who wasn't good. That was a knee-jerk reaction to Pelini. Pelini, who was a 9 perennial win a season coach that you got rid of because that wasn't good enough, who replaced Solich, Callahan, because he was supposed to be like this more the way college football was going at the time.
Yeah, like
right. The way college football was going at the time was
people are doing.
He's going to turn us into an NFL
and you
squad.
You get these NFL coaches that are exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, every new hire can't be an immediate so you had a bad relationship, you had a bad marriage with a blonde, so you break up and now you're going to go get a brunette. That doesn't mean your relationship with your spouse or your fiance or your girlfriend or whatever is going to be better. You're just trying to get opposite of what you had. I feel like Nebraska keeps doing that instead of looking at what realistically is going to make your program better. I feel like when they hired Frost, that was the first time since Osborne left. Well, I'd say Solich, because Solich came up in that whole program and whatever you want to call it. But I mean, that was the first time where it's like, okay, we're going to get a guy who knows the ins and outs of the program, who's going to put us back to we out grind, we out work, we out size, we out strength people, we do whatever. But the problem is we're not doing that. And I don't know. I don't feel like Frost forgot how to coach from Oregon and UCF to Nebraska. But I do believe there's a lot to the fact that he can't let shit go, or he can't stray away from Martinez. Like, so
when they went undefeated. Real quick.
Yeah.
What the hell was last year when he was giving McCaffrey all those snaps?
How many of those snaps that McCaffrey got was Martinez also on the field?
Still.
Or Martinez was partially hurt. That was half.
Exactly. The only time in my memory that McCaffrey took actual solo snaps was when Martinez couldn't go because he was hurt. Or
there was one game. No, there was one game that he started.
Yeah,
there was one game he started him.
Yeah, because Martinez was stinking up the joint
on the sideline. Yeah, he wasn't hurt. There was one game where he wasn't injured or played injured, because I think half of the time Martinez likes to act like he's injured. But there was, I think, one game that he actually was able to start ahead of Martinez.
Martinez's problems are between the ears. Martinez has the legs. I don't think he has the arm that a lot of people think. Right. But he's too indecisive.
To get injured.
That and
whatever you want to call it.
That's a big part of it. Because his main problem is that, like I was talking to Gabe earlier when we were rewatching the game, and it doesn't matter if Martinez has 2 or 20 seconds. He will use however much time he has in the pocket to stay in the pocket and keep looking at shit. Like at a certain point when you're a dual threat quarterback, either your reads aren't there or you see a legit lane to get 6 to, like yesterday, 75 fucking yards, and you just hit that lane and you go. And he doesn't do that, man. He'll run around, he'll do whatever else like he's Russell Wilson up to the line, except make the right decision, and he ends up taking a sack, or he throws an interception, or he throws a 3rd and 8 at somebody's knees, or instead of getting 6-7 yards on a run.
I have a play. I have that play queued up.
Right.
I think this is it. It'll be embarrassing if it isn't.
But watch his drop steps. 1, step, 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 hop around. He doesn't.
I mean, this is the end of the game, like
half.
The end of the half.
Into the half. This is before the fumble, right? No. My bad. That's after the fumble. That's right after.
I don't
the
think
fumble.
that's
my
it.
bad.
Might have been wrong.
Well, what I just wanted to say about Martinez is in his early, so when he was fresh, when he was young, like he was super agile. Like you saw him like in the pocket, out of the pocket, you're just like, whoa, this guy's got moves. Like he's shaking bacon
Colorado
these
game.
dudes. And like,
but
then when he got injured, he started playing safe. So he wasn't shaking and baking with that agility anymore, because he was like, ooh, I could twist this, or ooh, I could land wrong, or ooh, this guy might hit me wrong. Like that's what's going through his mind because he was injured before. And that's where he's not moving east and west. He's moving the north and south and not making the right decision. Now, when he moves the east and west, like we saw with that 75-yard run, he made the decision, I'm running forward. And when he makes the decision to run forward, he's got it.
He made that decision, but he also made it early, and the defense broke down on the backside.
Yeah, and all of his sacks, all of his pressures, anything that made him go right or left, he just looks scared. And that's because I think they've been working on him staying in the pocket. And I would actually probably like to see him out of the pocket. I think he makes his decisions better when he's out of the pocket.
So that's a good point. Do you think that's more on him or more on the coaching staff?
That's the coaching to me.
Coaching.
I bet you they are coaching him. Stay in the pocket.
My Bears did
a dual threat.
My Bears did the same thing with Trubisky, and now your Bills are going to fix him. All right? We wanted him so desperately to be a passer, and he wasn't. Adrian Martinez is a better passer than Trubisky already.
No, he's not.
Oh, dude. Deep. Trubisky can't go deep. Adrian Martinez can go deep.
So here's
Martinez
where we come
sometimes.
back to, though. Here's what we come back to.
Trubisky can go deep, never.
If you know that quarterback is going to, get 100 yards in the game, that's all right.
Passing or rushing?
Rushing.
Okay.
So
yeah,
let's say you're fine with that. Then you don't care about him rushing. Then you're just playing to his weakness, which is the passing game. So then you can dial down and focus on one thing. If you flip that on our side, wait a second. If you flip it on our side, where as the Huskers, we're like, we're going to run with you. We're going to have you run every single opportunity. I want your ass to run. Like if you can get 200 yards a game running, 250, that's fine. I would rather you run first. I don't care. Now, I think they wanted him to stay in the pocket so that he's less injury prone. But I mean, this is his senior year. Like go full out, like do what your strength is. And what will happen then when his strength is running, what will happen is the pass will open.
He's a junior, baby boy.
I'm just saying what will happen.
3rd year, though. I get it.
If you have him focus on his rushing, senior,
but he could play again.
And then they actually have to stop him. Now the passing game will open up and he will become a better passer when he rushes more. Because they're going to have to
agree more.
The defense will have to respect him more for the rush, and that's going to open up his passing game so much more. So I think they're doing the opposite. They're trying to keep him in the pocket, rush less, and I think it's handicapping him because now it's harder to pass because they know he's not going to rush as much. Like that's easy to see.
I couldn't agree with you more, but I think it's his decision and not the coaches. That's the only thing I disagree on. I think that he thinks / feels like he needs to be a pocket passer type dude, because when you see the pocket breaking down, like I'll come back to this, but when you see him extend plays and it's like, okay, bro, nothing's there. Like I played corner my whole life. If you do your job for 6 to 8 seconds, you're an elite corner, right? So when a quarterback holds the ball for 10, 12, 13, 15, whatever seconds, he's doing you a favor. because now the receivers have already ran their route. They didn't get a ball thrown to them, and now they have to come into the linebackers or out to the safeties. And they don't know what they're doing at that point, right? So let's say I'm the best, whoever you think the best corner in the NFL is, let's say I'm that guy, and you are the 30th best receiver in the league, right? You have an advantage because you know what route you're going to run. I don't. So when you run your route, I'm like, shit, I gotta keep my hips square. I gotta understand what's happening. If I have safety help, if I don't, I gotta use the sidelines. If I have to like try to force him out, if he's like a double step or a double move guy, if he's a single move guy, if he's a slant guy that is like super quick on his brakes and he's gonna hit a slant on me, whatever. But after about 6 seconds at the very most, none of that matters because he ran his route. Now neither one of us know what he's gonna run or do. Right. So when Martinez, which I think the offensive line is very bad and doesn't give him a lot of time, but when they do, he holds it way past the point of whatever routes were going to be ran. And instead of finding a lane and running, he stands there and fucks around and does his thing. And then he either hurls up some shit as he's getting sacked because he waited through the time he had and still stayed in the pocket or just didn't run. Or he decides, okay, now that everything's broke down, I'm going to run. And instead of getting like that 75-yard touchdown where he saw, oh, all this is open because they messed up and my reads aren't there, and taking it, it turns into a 2 or 3 yard gain and a possible fumble, which we saw at the end of the first half.
Gary and Lordy, both of you, either one who wants to take it first, if you had to just put it on one thing, gun to your head, short explanation, what's the very most important thing that has to change?
Go ahead, Lordy.
I think we need to stop acting like we're a West Coast offense. If we want to change things, like I'm really liking Wisconsin's offense right now. Like I think we need to bulk up. We need to get back to the program we used to be, and I know that's hard to say because it's the dynasty that we all want and love, but I think that's our strength. Our strength is conditioning, stamina, bulk. We have the best gym in America. We have the best food program in America. Like, let's go back to that.
That's not bad. I like all of that. Gary?
I don't disagree. I think a one-word answer.
It doesn't have to be one. Partial. No.
I'm just saying a partial or whatever one-word answer would be offensive line. And that goes back to what Corey's saying. I don't care. I don't want to hear about Omar Manning's. I don't want to hear about Wan'Dale Robinson's. I don't want to hear about Logan Smothers or Adrian Martinez. I want to hear about, Zach Wiegerts and Brandon Styes. I want to hear about guys that are competing with each other to where the guy who's riding the bench for the next right tackle position is good enough to start for Ohio State's right tackle.